Now, there's a major scandal in New York where the front-runner to be mayor, Zohran Mamdani, has been pictured with a radical imam, Siraj Wahhaj, who once supported the terror attacks on the Trade Center in 1993. Now, survivors of that attack say that this image is a disgrace of the two of them smiling together, a photo opportunity with someone tied to one of America's earliest acts of jihadist terror. New York Post columnist Miranda Devine has written that it's hard to believe that 24 years after 9/11, New York City is on the brink of voting in a Uganda-born Islamist mayor who campaigned last week with an unindicted co-conspirator in the first World Trade Center terror attack that killed 6 New Yorkers. We've also seen time and time again that Mamdani has refused to condemn Hamas. Well, Sky News contributor Kosha Gada joins me now. Now, Kosha, we've got to say the imam has denied involvement and has never been charged. But what message does it send when the front-runner for the mayoral candidate happily poses with someone accused of enabling terrorism?
Not a great message, Shari. And, I lived in New York at the time when 9/11 happened, and it would have been completely unthinkable, as Miranda Devine said, that in such a short period of time, 2 decades after that, here we are. But I think what it tells us, unfortunately, and the message that it sends is it's a different city, it's a different country. 25 years is a long time, a lifetime in politics, and unfortunately, politics is about emotion more than it is about facts, especially historical facts that are 25, 30 years old. A lot of the people who are going to be voting in this election weren't even alive back then. This is, of course, the 93 bombing, even before 9/11. So that's even older news. And people's memories are, long forgotten about that. And I think I go with identity. He sort of comes across as somebody that a lot of the electorate has affinity with from an identity perspective. He's packaged very well as kind of this smiling, charismatic person. And sadly, just at that surface level is how the votes are likely to go. And based on the polling today, even as these types of revelations come out with him, he is running away with it. He's 15 points ahead of Andrew Cuomo, who's in second place.
Extraordinary. We can only hope that the polls are way off, completely wrong, because this is just going to be a travesty for New York City if he gets in. I want to ask you about Prince Andrew. Now, he's back under investigation, this time for allegedly using a palace bodyguard to dig up dirt on a sex abuse victim, Virginia Giuffre. And also the major news over the weekend that he's had to give up his royal titles and honours. What can you tell us about this?
Yes, so this one is interesting because the Metropolitan Police is saying that they are looking into this matter, so technically he is in legal jeopardy. There are some statutes in UK law that say, as a public official, if he was using his public resources or access to public resources to get information or dig up dirt on somebody for personal ends, that is a violation of certain statutes. That's what they're looking into. Obviously, this is a famous or infamous person that's now been tied for him forevermore in that photo and beyond. However, realistically, I find it hard to believe that they're going to go there. No criminal probe has been opened, and I think they have bigger fish to fry than pursuing legal criminal action against him. Virginia Giuffre also passed away in April of this year, here actually in Queensland, Australia. Yeah. So that also potentially weakens any such charge around it. However, your second question, politically, it is interesting. I think a lot of people are asking why now? Like, why did this stuff come out now? Was this the reason for why he now kind of all of a sudden gave up his titles? That's pretty shocking news. Yeah. I think people are kind of scratching their heads about that. And it might also be a harbinger for what's to come, where a mother's love, Queen Elizabeth, is different from a brother's love or a nephew's love for willing to look the other way. And are there other royals potentially that future King William might take a harder look at in terms of how long they can hang on to titles?
Such a good point. Now, big story today, the FBI is investigating what's been described as a potential sniper's nest. This is overlooking Donald Trump's Air Force One. It's the landing zone at Palm Beach Airport. Now, we don't know for sure, but this is what it's being described as. Kosha, this is just a chilling reminder of all the potential threats to the president's life and how his life is still in jeopardy every day he goes out in public.
100%. He is target number one of many people on the other side. It's a miracle by which he dodged that bullet by 1 millimeter, which changed the arc of history, as we often talk about and will probably for the rest of time. The second one, where the Secret Service thankfully caught that person who was recently convicted in Florida with the barrel of the gun coming out of the bushes. And now this one, we don't know how developed the plot was, but it is no joke. And many people actually are kind of really fed up, I would say, Shari, with the Secret Service and why these things seem to get to the stage that they get to before they're caught. Thankfully, so far they have all been caught. And I think there's just a bigger push for them to toughen up. Or should there be a military unit or somebody else augmenting the Secret Service around President Trump, given the threat against him is unlike anything in recent memory?
Although, of course, as you know, 2 weren't caught. I mean, it wasn't on the president, but the Charlie Kirk assassination, and then and he had security, and also you know, the near miss with President Trump. Just very quickly before you go, I want to ask you about this massive so-called No Kings protest against Donald Trump on the weekend. Now he's hit back at it. He's posted an AI generated clip of himself as a fighter pilot dumping sewage on protesters, which is hilarious, and the White House does seem to be having a lot of fun with its social media at the moment. But he did allow these protests to go ahead. So that was, you know, that is fundamental to democracy, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is. And look, 77 million people voted for him in the last election. The highest reports are something like 7 million people took to the streets, so that's debated. If true, we're saying 10% of them are very angry that not only did he win, but he's putting his campaign promises into action. You see them in action, and it's conceivable that you know, a lot of people with time on their hands are taking to the streets. There's some question about how many of them are organic versus is there some sort of funding kind of propping it up, who knows. But yep, that's part of democracy, and he's the king of taking those kinds of things and trolling the other side, if you will. He started doing it with tweets. Now he's graduated into AI videos, and I think that kind of does neutralize it a little bit, and he's going to continue pushing his agenda.
Yeah. Look, it's hard to imagine there were 7 million people at a protest, but these numbers are always greatly exaggerated, as you say. Kosha Gada, thank you so much for coming on again.